My name is Evan Lessler. I run a company called Adapt, and we're based here in San Francisco, California. I grew up in a small town called Fairfield, about an hour away from San Francisco, and the notion of working with a team like the Golden State Warriors, the best team in basketball, the best roster in basketball, those notions just didn't really exist for a 15-year-old me. The idea of working with these entities that are just sort of at the height of the world stage was just never something that I even considered. I started the brand in 2003 when I was a junior in college. I knew that I wanted to start a clothing company in high school. Senior year in a physics class, I was sketching and I was working with these kind of triangle shapes and it spelled out the word adapt. And I figured that that would be a good name for a brand. So that kind of is what started it all off. Most of the graphics I come up with, a lot of it's based on nostalgia in my own life, things that have influenced me throughout my life. Growing up in the Bay, the culture is so rich as it pertains to sports, as it pertains to media. The Gold-Blooded brand actually began in 2012. We just celebrated our 10-year anniversary of the brand, where we collaborated with a lot of our friends that have clothing brands, and it was just immediately loved by our customers. They loved the idea behind it. You know, beyond the whole sports connection, it's just this idea of being gold-blooded, you know, striving to be the best person you can be at whatever it is that you're working at, striving to achieve what you never thought you could achieve, and just going for gold. And it sort of naturally just took to our local teams, and our customers really rallied around that, and it became its sort of own entity, almost separate of Adapt. It's almost its own brand at this point. Wow, incredible. Gold-blooded, baby. Wow. In early 2016, we were just closing down our ceremony shop, which was right after Christmas. And so there was just a lot of hustle and bustle, a lot of frenzy, and I was feeling very weak, very tired. And I attributed it to this move and just all this action going on and there came a point where I couldn't even lift our inventory boxes. And so my aunt, who works at the warehouse with us, she insisted that I go see a doctor. There was clearly something wrong. So went to see the doctor. Next day, got a phone call from my doctor, and she said, you know, very sorry to say, you have cancer, and we think it's called leukemia. And so that pretty much changed my life from that point on. I went into the hospital and I was there for 30 days straight. I came out of there with a lot of resolve. I knew that I wanted to turn this into a positive experience. My customers were just with me all along the way, which was very inspiring. It really changed my perspective in general, just as a human being. The things that I cared about, the things that worried me, the concerns, the day-to-day business concerns that I had just sort of melted away, and they just weren't that important anymore. And I think it changed the whole trajectory of the brand because it focused me, it made me think about the things that were really important to me and just the graphics that I wanted to do and that gave me the most joy. But there was a point where I was very angry, I was very frustrated about the whole ordeal, you know, why is this happening to me? I remember asking my doctor specifically, does your attitude matter in terms of this whole process, in terms of the healing process? And she said 100%, absolutely it did. And the way that you approach life and the way that you look at your problems as not as much problems, but as things that you can overcome and things that you can learn from and grow from. As the more that I realized that and kind of took that on as my own mantra, like that really helped push me through the whole process. And I couldn't have done that without my friends, my family, customers, everybody kind of rooting for me through this whole period. I came out of this knowing that I wanted to do something positive. We have a program called Adapt Plus, which is where we donate 100% of the proceeds to a various charity or issue that we care about. These graphics, customers loved them. They sold very well, and I think we raised about $15,000 towards leukemia research and cancer research in general. I think that whole journey, you know, because it made me value just things in my life that I value as a human being, getting up every day, being grateful for what I have, it sort of made me redouble my efforts with the brand. And you know what? This is the time that I have on this earth. We have these great customers, we have this great community around us. I'm gonna go back at this 200%. This sickness, this disease is not gonna hold me back. It's gonna make me stronger. And if anything, it just gives me all this added insight and all this added respect for life and just for what I can personally achieve in my life.
We've been doing Gold-Blooded for over 10 years, and to see it be embraced, see it be accepted, and see it be a part of such a team and such a legacy and such a dynasty is amazing. The playoffs is where it's at, right? This is where everything is down to the wire. This is where history is made, and we're just glad to be a part of that.
I mean, it's hard to put into words what the Warriors and Gold-Blooded working together actually means. I'm still processing the information right now. It's still insane. I still don't know how that happened or how I'm at the place that I'm at now, but I'm very glad that I'm in the position to be able to experience these things and to work with these amazing people to create even greater things. I'm Evan Lessler, and this is my fighting spirit.